here in person in the American Center, but as you may have seen
Let's
or
go
heard,
ahead, sir.
okay. Greetings to our American spaces. We have 28 American spaces around Nigeria, north, south, east, and west, in most of the states and a lot of the major cities. And we're very fortunate that events like this include not just Abuja and Lagos, but can include an audience in all of those places, and we can take their questions. So welcome to all of you. I was just saying my name is Brian Neubert. I'm the cultural attaché here at the American Embassy. We're really thrilled this week and today to do this workshop on road safety. Welcome again to our American spaces, American Corners, Windows on America. Greetings all over Nigeria. There they are. Excellent. We're thrilled to do a program on road safety. We have some really extraordinary speakers and a really good program today, and I will turn it over to them very briefly. I wanted to share a couple of personal comments about road safety. I have lived in countries like Nigeria, developing countries, for most of my adult life. Kenya, Congo, Vietnam, Somalia, South Africa, even in the United States and in Europe, road safety, deaths and injury from automobile crashes are enormous and terribly tragic. One of my closest friends who he lived to be an adult, but just a few years passed away. He was in a car accident when he was 9 years old. And he was paralyzed. He was a little boy of 9, and he was a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. He was very inspiring to me because he went on to have a very productive life. I knew him at Georgetown University. He went on to get a law degree, but it was still very sad that he was in that car accident that was probably preventable. And then another point in my career, we talk to our successors and our predecessors, diplomats. We go around the world, and a colleague named Nathan Lane replaced me in Vietnam, and I had a chance to have coffee with him and talk to him about what a great job I had at Ho Chi Minh City and the great team he was going to work with, and the American Chamber of Commerce and Business and so on. And then I sort of lost touch. I moved on to, I forget, whatever I did next. And then some years later, you're looking at social media, I'm looking at Facebook, and I see all these pictures of him. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what it is. And I look more closely, and he passed away. He was in a car accident in Poland. So it happens anywhere. It happens in the United States. It happens in Poland. We know it happens in Nigeria. Quite a lot of it is preventable. My own children, I taught to drive, especially my son. Young men are a risk factor, right? They're not very cautious. They can be very impatient and impulsive. My daughter is not that way, but she's got her own set of challenges when it comes to driving. Certainly young people driving, but just in general, a lot of this is preventable because of the way people drive. And so training, education, public education, all of these things are really important when it comes to road safety. Our colleagues in uniform who are here, they have such an enormous task in any country. In the United States, people drive too fast. They drive drunk. Nigeria, it's an adventure here, especially if the roads are in good condition. People often drive too fast. They're in a hurry to get where they're going. Nigerians really hustle. It could be a bit for sure. So I'm really excited about the program that we have. It's very important to me personally and to any of us who live and work where we commute to work by road. We go to church or to the mosque by road, to our communities. You're constantly out in the roads and go see your family on the highways. So we are really honored to have Dr. Bachani here with us today. Is he here virtually, Andwana?
Yeah, that's right.
He's here virtually. So thank you for joining us virtually, sir. He's director of Johns Hopkins International Injury Research Unit. He'll share some data with us to help inform our work, Johns Hopkins University. We have Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed with us today, Federal Road Safety Corps. Thank you, sir, for joining. I very much appreciate your time, and we're glad to help you reach this audience. It's It's what we're here for. I understand that representing the director of the Vehicle Inspection Office of FCT Abuja is Mr. Durajaye Abanwale Olalekan. Thank you, sir, and apologies, my work in progress pronunciation. And then Patrick Obi, Simon Patrick Obi is also virtually. Hello, Simon. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to all of you in a moment. He's the founder of the Green Line Initiative and supervisory board member of yours, Youth for Road Safety. And certainly our youth, our alumni are all assets in this journey and in this effort. So without further ado, let me turn it over. Thank you, Ondwana and the team and Ben for pulling all this together. Thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much, Brian, for that wonderful opening remark. Let's put our hands together for we'll quickly move on to introducing our speakers for today. So we'll call on Josephine to do that right away. Josephine, over to you, please.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We have with us, as Brian has mentioned, the first speaker, Dr. Abdul-Lateef Bachani, is an associate professor in the Department of International Health, director of the John Hopkins International Injury Research Unit, and director of the PhD program in health systems at the John Hopkins Bloomsbury School of Public Health. Dr. Bachani is a renowned global public health leader and expert in health systems, injury prevention, and disability. He advises mayors, offices on road safety in more than 25 cities worldwide and collaborates with national governments and agencies, actively working in over 30 countries to this day. His contributions involve developing approaches for the measurement of disability and understanding the long-term health, economic, and societal consequences of injuries, strengthening health systems to enhance access to rehabilitation services in low resources settings, applying novel information and communication technology approaches to injury, prevention, disability, and rehabilitation, and developing sustainable capacity for research and practice in the field of injury prevention, disability, and rehabilitation. Dr. Bachani has contributed to several empirical studies and global reports focused on injuries, disabilities, and rehabilitation in low and middle income countries. Can we give him a round of applause? So I move to Simon Patrick Obi. Simon Patrick Obi is the founder of the Green Light Initiative and an alumnus of the U.S. State Department's International Visitor Leadership Program, IVLP. He advocates for road safety and youth empowerment and serves on the supervisory board of YOS, Youth for Road Safety, which promotes global youth engagement in road safety initiatives. Simon is currently a doctoral student at John Hopkins University, where he earned a Master of Public Health in May 2024. He received several honors during his studies, including the Bloomberg Leadership Hall of Fame and Traffic Safety Scholar Awards. He has represented youth at key global forums, including the World Youth Assemblies for Road Safety in Sweden and Morocco, the United Nations High-Level Meeting on Global Road Safety, and various COP meetings. Simon's commitment to service dates back to 2014, when he was recognized as the best National Youth Service Corps member in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, earning the FCT Ministers Award and a nomination for the Nigerian Presidential National Youth Service Award. His leadership inspires civic-minded youth worldwide. A warm welcome to Simon Patrick Obi. I move to Shehu Mohammed. Shehu Mohammed is a dedicated public servant with over 33 years of service in Nigeria's road safety and Public Administration. He has spent his career at the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, where he has led transformative initiatives and mentored emerging talents. Shehu began his career at the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation before joining the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, in 1992. He has held several key positions, including sector accountant and zonal commanding officer of Zone RS7. In May 2024, he was appointed Course Marshal of the FRC and serves on the board of the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FERMA. He holds a BSc in accounting from Bello University, a BA in business administration from Birmingham City University, and a master's degree in project management from the University of Salford in the UK. Shehu is widely respected for his leadership and commitment to enhancing road safety in Nigeria. A warm welcome to you, Shehu Mohammed. Abdul-Lateef Bello, born on September 12, 1965, is the Director of Vehicle Inspection Office for the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, a position he has held since March 2022. Previously, he served as Director of Administration and Finance in the FCT Security Services Department, 2019 to 2020, Deputy Director 2016 to 2019, and Assistant Director 2012 to 2016. His public service career began at the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, as an Assistant Secretary in the Departmental Tenders Board from 1993 to 1995. Mr. Bello holds a Doctor of Letters, DLITT, from East Bachman University 2021, a Master's in Development Studies from the Institute of Social Studies in the Netherlands 2003, and a Bachelor of Science in Sociology from Bayero University, Kano, 1989. He completed his IJMB program at Kwara State Polytechnic in 1985 and attended primary and secondary school in Okene, Kogi State. He is recognized for his commitment to public service and contributions to FCT traffic safety and security reforms. Welcome, gentlemen. Over to you, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Josephine, for that wonderful introduction of our guest today. You can see we'll have very renowned experts in the house, so please do enjoy your time here with us. Without wasting much of our time, we'll quickly call on our guest speaker for today, Abdul Bachani, to make his presentation quickly. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation to come and speak here. Really great to see so many people, and thank you, Brian, as well, for your comments, which are really, which essentially cover what we know about road safety, right? Road traffic crashes, injuries are preventable, and unfortunately, a lot of people lose their lives to road traffic crashes each year. But many more get injured and have to live with those consequences. And we as a society do not do much or cannot deal with those consequences as appropriately as we should. And that has been the focus of my work, both on the prevention side as well as what it is that we can do for folks who are injured and have disabilities as a result. So with respect to what I'm going to talk about today is look at road safety challenges, provide a brief overview, and cover some information that we know, and I'll also highlight opportunities where we can act collectively. So what is the global status currently? The global status report on road safety that is released by the World Health Organization every couple of years really is a seminal document that allows us to understand where we are globally and where each of our countries are, what we can do about it, and where the burden remains the most. So we know that as of the last global status report on road safety, we have 1.19 million people who are killed on our roads annually. And more importantly, road traffic crashes are the #1 cause of death for individuals 5 to 29 years of age. So if we're looking at the leading causes of death and we want to do something about preventing death in younger individuals, 5 to 29 years of age, it's imperative that we focus on road safety. But when we often hear about child health or adolescent health, we often don't hear about road safety as a priority. But this statistic really ought to resonate with all of us as folks who are somewhat sensitized to road safety, but also folks who want to do something about reducing the burden of reducing death and injuries among the young population and improving population health in general. This in turn will have an impact on the long-term economic productivity and societal participation in our societies. 92% of these deaths occur in low and middle income countries worldwide. In many other countries, Brian mentioned that he's lived in. Brian, I am from Kenya originally and moved to the United States right after I had finished high school. So great to know you have some experience there. 30% of the deaths that occur on our roads are among riders of power 2 and 3 wheelers. And these are motorcyclists, e-bikes, or tuk-tuks or auto rickshaws, whatever it is that they're called in many different places. We have different terms for them. 21% are among pedestrians, right? So these are all individuals who are in vulnerable situations because of how our systems are organized. In many of our countries and cities, we do not have adequate public transport, and many people have to resort to walking on unsafe roads, using power two-wheelers, motorcycles, etc., which lead them to vulnerable situations and are adversely affected as a result. And there is a 3-time higher risk of death in low and middle income countries as opposed to higher income countries. And we ought to ask ourselves why. While road traffic crashes can happen anywhere, the risk of death really is higher in low and middle income countries. And that's, again, a reflection of the way our systems are organized. And I'll speak to that a little later. And this is the distribution of the burden of deaths. So these are number of deaths that the World Health Organization estimates. As we saw, 1.19 million annually. 19% of these deaths are in the African region, and we'll tease out these numbers in a bit. And as I mentioned, the majority of the burden here, as you can see on the left side, is among individuals in vulnerable situations: power 2 and 3 wheelers, bicyclists, pedestrians. And these should be our focus when we are trying to reduce the burden of road traffic crashes, injuries, and deaths. And all this has a huge economic and social cost to our society. So again, another impetus for us to act on this. It is estimated that the annual cost of road traffic crashes, deaths, and injuries is $1.8 trillion. That's equivalent to 10 to 12% of the global GDP. And it's disproportionately affecting low and middle income country economies. So there's no reason for us not to act on this. There are regional disparities, as we saw in the graph I showed earlier. Africa has 19% of the global deaths. It has the highest fatality rate at 19.5 per 100,000 people, in contrast to Europe, which has 6.5 per 100,000 people. So it's up to us. I mean, I know low and middle income countries are not homogeneous, but for each country to look at what it is that's working in countries that have done it better and what it is that we can apply to our countries. And we know all that, and we can come to that in a little bit as well. Focusing in on Nigeria, Nigeria sees over 36,000 deaths a year, and this is the World Health Organization estimate, a rate of 17 per 100,000, so really high up there. There's a high burden on urban and interurban roads, and at speed, people in vulnerable situations, vehicles traveling too fast, and people being put in situations where they can be involved in a traffic crash is what is leading to this. And naturally, it has a major economic impact on Nigeria as well. So really happy to see this event occurring, and hopefully this leads to some more concrete and broader discussions of what is it that we can do. Now, one of the issues that comes up often is, as you saw in the numbers I presented, these are estimates. The World Health Organization gets reported data from all countries, and in the process of putting together the report, we know that our data systems are not complete. Our data systems in many of our countries are not are a little weak and don't capture all the road traffic deaths that are happening. So there's incomplete crash data systems, there's weak surveillance, and lack of trauma registries, for example, and surveillance systems in many of our countries, and limited information on road user disaggregation that we see in many of our countries. So a real need to strengthen data systems. But then we also have some systemic barriers. Road safety governance in many low and middle income countries is weak. There's inadequate legislation or enforcement. There's poor infrastructure and vulnerable road users. And so we see why is it that the numbers are so high. It's not about not knowing what it is that we can do. It's about understanding how is it that we can implement many of these proven interventions and approaches in our countries, and then being able to do so. Vehicle safety is another big issue that comes up in low and middle income countries. Many vehicles are often imported, and many of the low and middle income, many of the countries in Africa especially rely on second-hand vehicles coming in from other markets. And many times, some of these vehicles lack basic safety features. We might not have functioning seat belts in the back seat, for example. So there's limited regulation on vehicle importation, which then leads to these issues cropping up in our vehicle fleets, and something that really we ought to focus on and address. We have infrastructure issues, as I said. We have often historically focused on developing our infrastructure so that vehicles can move from point A to B faster, not recognizing that roads should be made, or our infrastructure should be designed so that it accommodates for all road users. Our urban areas often lack spaces for pedestrians to walk safely. Sidewalks are often taken as parking spots for cars or for people who are selling stuff or other reasons, or sometimes sidewalks may not even exist. And we see that 80% of the roads are less than 3-star when it comes to looking at pedestrian safety. Less than 1% of the roads have cycling lanes in low and middle income countries. So really infrastructure, another big issue that we really need to address to be able to tackle this road safety problem. Behavior-related risk factors, we often focus on the big four, which is speeding, drink driving, helmet, and seatbelt. We see that only 6 countries around the world in Africa meet the WHO best practice laws on the 5 risk factors. So a lot that needs to be done. We know that legislation serves as the fabric on which programs can be built. If we don't have a good legislation in place, we won't be able to enforce lower speed limits. We won't be able to enforce drink driving, helmet use, or seatbelt use. And that's something we really need to assess and focus on. And then when it comes to what happens when a crash happens, right? The emergency response and post-crash response, we see that many of our low and middle income countries, especially in Africa, we have weak emergency services. So timely and appropriate care is not available to individuals. And even when available, when there's private ambulance services, there's no coordination with the hospital. So then when folks go to the hospital is not prepared to accept that patient. And eventually, sometimes, unfortunately, this patient dies waiting for services at the hospital, right? There was a big case in Kenya a few years ago where someone was rescued at the site of a crash, for example, was taken to a hospital, but had to wait 14 hours and unfortunately died in the ambulance. So there's no point in improving one part of the system at the expense of the other part. What we need is for the system to operate and be coordinated and improve the system as a whole. Now, there has been some progress since 2010. 2010 is when the first decade of action for road safety was launched, and we are currently, as many of you know, within the second decade of action. We've seen a little reduction. We've seen a 5% global reduction in deaths. So there's regional progress. Europe has seen a 36% reduction, but as you will see here, Africa, unfortunately not. And Nigeria, again, are yet to achieve a significant decline in road traffic mortalities. So what is it that we can do? What are the opportunities? It's one thing to talk about the burden and feel sad about it, but more important is to try and see what is it that we can do about many of these things. What we're advocating for is the application of a safe systems approach. It's a holistic framework that looks at safer roads, vehicles, users, and speeds. And the premise behind the safe systems approach is that what we want to do is we want to make sure that no one dies or is seriously injured due to a road traffic crash. We acknowledge that as long as there's vehicles on the roads, there will be crashes, but that these crashes should not be severe enough to lead to death and serious injuries. For as long as there's humans operating these vehicles, humans will make errors, and humans using the system will make errors. The system should be designed in a way to reduce the impact of those human errors so that there's no lives lost and no people who are seriously injured. The safe systems approach has been widely applied in many different countries and is really a good holistic way to address all aspects of the system so that we're all working in coordination for the production of safety. We talked about youth and road safety. We saw in our data that our young population is the most affected, but they're still underrepresented when it comes to making decisions about road safety. And we have Simon here, for example, who's part of the Youth for Road Safety group. And the youth voices are a really important voice, and their experiences are really important for us to take into consideration as well. And so there is really a need for intergenerational collaboration as we work on these issues too. Luckily, we're not operating in a vacuum. As I said, we have global commitments. The UN Decade of Action for Road Safety, we're currently halfway within the second decade of action, which goes from 2021 to 2030. And the goal here is to have a 50% reduction in fatalities. We have the Sustainable Development Goals framework where road safety is featured prominently, most specifically under target 3.6 and 11.2. So there is alignment for us, and there is some global momentum for us to build on. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to act. There are resources available out there, and it is up to us to figure out how to better utilize those resources and make an impact in our countries. So some opportunities for low and middle income countries is to really integrate safety into transport planning, invest in data systems and surveillance, because until we know what the issues are, we wouldn't know where to focus our resources, because truth be told, we're always working in a resource limited environment. We will have to prioritize. If we spend resources on A, we'll have fewer resources to spend on issue B. And so it is important for us to really be mindful of where we're investing our resources and be more efficient about investing our resources so we get the most bang for our buck, so to speak. Good data systems will also help us understand how well we're doing in addressing the issue and our new areas of focus emerging as we move along. Promote multimodal people-centered mobility. So make sure that our cities, at least, are designed to take everyone, all road users, into account, and that includes children, pedestrians, etc. And that calls for a lot of capacity strengthening. I was really lucky to have Shehu participate in the Global Road Safety Leadership course that we just concluded last week, and really looking forward to supporting in any way we can on issues that are of focus in Nigeria. Infrastructure, as I said, is an extremely important piece, and we need to make sure our cities are designed for everyone, and that calls for safer road designs, pedestrian-friendly urban planning, and looking at a modal shift. So making sure when looking at our public transport systems to make sure that they're safe, that they're reaching a wide number of people so that they're convenient for people to use, et cetera, et cetera. And so really an area that we can focus on as well. Some opportunities more specifically for Nigeria is we know we have the FRSC, and leaders from FRSC are really involved here today and have been previously as well. And we need to work to strengthen their capacity. We need to ensure that there's rule of law and enforcement of legislation. Enforcement needs to be visible and widespread so that if anyone is using the road at any time, they have this perception that, yes, if I do something wrong, I will get caught, I'll get fined, etc. We need to prioritize urban planning for non-motorized transport, enhance vehicle import standards as well. We need to identify and address some implementation gaps. The Global Status Report on Road Safety highlights some of these gaps in implementation, and one of the key areas for action, for example, is enforcement, which has been variable across different countries. We know that there's some resource limitations, but there's ways to do it in an efficient way that's data-driven and that helps you achieve maximal efficiency and effectiveness in the way you're implementing things. Some strategies to close implementation gaps is to strengthen institutional capacity, but also strengthen individual capacity, right, on data use, on resource allocation, on monitoring progress, and leading change as well. We talked about policy and legislative environment, the Global Status Report on Road Safety, as well as the Save Lives package from the World Health Organization are really good resources. They highlight best practices for policies for road safety, identifies gaps in the policy, regulatory, and legislative environment by country. So you can look up Nigeria and see what it is that needs to be addressed specifically for Nigeria when it comes to legislation and policy. We talked about improving infrastructure. Road safety rating, this graph shows road safety rating by user type, so a 3-star rating or more across the world. We can see that the majority of our roads are not safe for vulnerable road users. And so we really need to work on improving that. And this highlights also the role and importance of cross-sector collaboration. Road safety is one of those issues which I call complex 21st century problems, just like cancers, cardiovascular diseases, and any other public health issues, where there won't be one solution, right? We will need to bring health, we will need to bring transport, we need to bring education, we need to bring enforcement, and everyone needs to work together. We need to engage the private sector, civil society as well, because it's a shared responsibility and we all need to work together to really make it happen. And as I said, we don't work in a vacuum. We have global momentum, we have international support, and many organizations around the world that provide technical support, financial assistance, etc. The World Health Organization has many resources, the World Bank does as well. And it's important for us to recognize those and utilize those for making change locally as well. Linking road safety to climate action is important as well. It's an oft overlooked area where if we're promoting active mobility, we're working naturally to reduce motorization and reduce emissions, which will improve our overall health of the population. And so we really need to leverage climate finance for road safety and see how we can link different agendas. The Sustainable Development Goals framework provides a really good opportunity for us to do that in terms of leveraging other areas. So some key recommendations based on what we've talked about is we need political commitment. We need to strengthen our legal frameworks. We need to invest in safe infrastructure and data and empower our communities and youth to be more engaged as well. With that, thank you. And I'll stick around if there's any questions.
Daniel?
Yes.
Okay, over to you, Daniel.
All right, thank you. So let's go on a second. Shehu is here already. Shehu, over to you, please.
Good afternoon, American Spaces. Good morning, Simon and Professor Abdul in US. My name is Shehu Mohammed, the Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria. What I want to discuss this moment is where we are today in road safety in Nigeria, where we want to be in the next years towards the decade, and where we came from. Before the establishment of Federal Safety Corps, FRSC Nigeria in 1988, Nigeria roads were adjudged as one of the most dangerous roads in the world, responsible for massive road traffic crashes leading to thousands of deaths and serious injuries. So FRC came as a child of necessity to mitigate the challenges of road traffic crashes in Nigeria.
We have lost Abuja. Okay, they're back.
Sorry. Yes. Well, sorry, everyone. We apologize for this technical issue. To be sorted shortly.
This is the
Stretch. We want to ensure that people are able to see.
I think it's okay like that. We can see. Who says so?
Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I think it's okay like that. We're seeing it very well. Don't do the live slideshow. Just leave it like that.
Yeah, but it's not moving to the next slide. That's just.
Oh, it's not moving.
Oh, okay. Let him continue. Can send it to my. Let me try from here. WhatsApp. You could. Because that PowerPoint is not activated. That's why I think the problem is.
Okay.
Prof, you have it now. Please, can you screen it from your end?
Okay, let me check whether it's here. Okay. So I'm downloading it already. I've downloaded it. Right, I think you now have it.
Yeah, we can see the first page.
Okay, so just tell me how to advance. It's working very well here. So let's go ahead. Over to you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, just go ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, the Federal Road Safety Code came as a child of necessity as a result of incessant crashes and fatalities in Nigeria road. The mandate of FRSC road safety is to formulate legislation, policies, and guidance to improve road safety, and also in order to reduce crashes, fatalities, and injuries on Nigeria road. The target, because we have signed to the United Nations Decade of Action, and therefore our target is to reduce road traffic crash by half by the year 2030, and also make our environment, road environment, safe in such a way that even when crashes occur, it doesn't result to death or serious injury. Therefore, from 1988 to date, FRSC brought out some interventions. Even though we know the causes of crashes in Nigeria are mostly human error, human factor. But there are other causes, the causes of natural, the road, the causes of also the vehicle, lack of maintenance of our vehicles, and so ever. But as far as the human error is concerned, speed is the major cause. Speed, account to over 60% of road traffic crashes in our Nigeria road. And unluckily to us, when in other spaces, bad roads are the causes of road crashes, in our own space, in most cases, good roads are the causes because of speed. So part of the intervention we made over the years and the achievement we made in road safety is bringing the paradigm shift of bringing the holistic risk factors into one, and also sign to the safe system approach, while we have all the risk factors into one to be able to address the road safety challenges in Nigeria. Another intervention we made was the fact that we established road traffic management in states. We recommended states to establish road traffic management so that they can also support federal safety goal to make a good and safe environment of roads in our country. So far, about 26 states have signed and have their state road traffic management. The personnel of those state traffic management were also trained by FRSC to be able to bring them into our strategy in terms of reducing road traffic crashes on Nigeria road. Then other intervention we made over the years was the introduction, the establishment of National Traffic Radio 107.1 to continue to propagate road safety ideas and then educate, sensitize the motoring public and the general public of Nigeria on how to continue to use the road and make our roads safe for other road users to enjoy their mobility to their destination. We also have added to the 112 toll-free line. We have our own personal 122 toll-free line, which is 24 hours, and it's always available to call 122 and seek for support from FRSC whenever any crash occurs. We recently launched a mobile app, which is a one-stop shop for all the application of FRSC. All our products, all our services are embedded in that one-stop shop, the FRSC mobile line. And it will interest you to know that this one-stop mobile app has the ability to tell the driver or passenger while on the journey, where there are bad spots, where there are dangerous bends, where there are bad spots, and then it also tells the driver or the passengers in that vehicle if the driver is speeding above the speed limit in that environment. It has so many other features, and also it also allows those with that app to listen to our traffic radio wherever they are, to have a guide to wherever they are going and to know the traffic situation around the country. We recently activated what we call the National Crash Reporting Information System, where all the safety and security agencies come together to make report, make data of our road traffic crashes into one umbrella, so that at the end of the day, we have a standard comprehensive data of road traffic crashes common from Nigeria. We have a club of those safety and security agencies that will come together periodically to educate ourselves, to review what we are doing, and to know what we are supposed to move ahead in terms of getting data, adequate data, and comprehensive data for our road traffic crashes. We move ahead to also have what we call the Road Transport Safety Suggestion Scheme, whereby we comprehensively organize and also regulate the fleet operators in Nigeria, among the fleet operators that have the capacity to take passengers that are more than 5 and above. We also did what we call the driving school property centers. In fact, right now today, we are having a training of those driving school proprietors to be able to enhance their capacity to be able to train the new and future drivers that will be able to manage our Nigerian roads. The introduction of compulsory crash helmet and seat belt also, is part of the enforcement we are making in FRSC. We make sure that seat belts and helmets are being used in Nigeria, even though we have challenge of culture and tradition in this country, whereby in some places in Nigeria, they refuse to accept the use of helmet as a safety guide or while using, motorbikes for traveling. We introduced also the school bus policy for our children going to schools. We standardize the kind of bus that our children will be using to take them to schools and back. And they will also always have a kind of interaction with those school proprietors on how they can improve and take the children's, their students from the school back to their homes. The World Bank also assisted FRSC to what we call, in terms of, by collaboration, we introduced what we call the World Bank Safety Corridor, where we have ambulances along the major highways in Nigeria for easy access and prompt response to traffic crashes whenever it occurs. This ambulance service was also, extended to other places all over the country. We also introduced what we call the National Crash, introduction of National Community Post-Crash Care Initiative, where we train the communities that are along the highway. And mostly at night, when crashes occur, we are not always there. Security agencies are always not there to give support. Therefore, we train those communities around to be able to give support, to be the first respondent whenever a crash occurs at night. Next slide. Recently, we experienced what we call crashes as a result of tankers. Tankers carrying loaded petroleum products always have crash on the wide mobility from one place to another. Sometimes taking petroleum product from Lagos, from Port Harcourt down to the north. So we introduced what we call Safe to Load program, whereby we also assign FRSC personnel, trained FRSC personnel to be able to supervise and also inspect those vehicles before they load, after they load, and also to inspect the drivers to make sure that they are in good shape, good condition before they travel, they drive those tankers to wherever they're taking those products within the country. We strengthen the policy of predicted speed limiter. We introduce what we call the speed limiter so as to minimize the speed, because we consider that speed is a major cause of road traffic accidents in Nigeria. Therefore, we now introduce the speed limiter, whereby all commercial vehicles are mandated to have a predicted speed limiter that would not allow them to move beyond 100 km/h on a Nigeria road. That will really, assist us all to reduce the road traffic accidents in this country. We have a monitoring and control center, whereby our staff, our operatives, use what we call the camera on their chest to be able to enforce whatever they are doing on the road. We do it in that our monitoring center, real time. That gives us the control to know what our staff are doing and where we can make intervention wherever they are. We also did what we call the road safety in curriculum and secondary schools. We collaborated with Ministry of Education to make sure that we have a curriculum for our students in secondary school so that we catch them young. And this curriculum has started already. In most of the states now, they have started implementing this curriculum to educate our children on the way to have safety on the road, and the way also to imbibe good driving culture. We continue to engage community, the traditional leaders, advocacy, the religious leaders, and all other unions that have a say. NGOs, we collaborate with them, we partner with them to make sure that they support us to advocate what an ideal safety should be in this country. We introduce what we call the intelligence-based patrol activities. Where I mentioned earlier, we have this body-worn camera that we allow our staff to use, even though there are not many. We only started with Port Harcourt and Abuja and some part of Lagos as a pilot scheme. This camera allows us to view what our operators are doing on the road, and also give us first-hand information, real-time, online real-time, whatever they do and how they interact with motoring public. In terms of crashes when it occurs, we have trained staff that do what we call road safety audit and road safety inspection to be able to know what is the causes of that road traffic crashes, and they also advise relevant authorities like the Federal Ministry of Works, the Federal Maintenance Agency, and some other relevant agencies that need to do palliatives on the road whenever a crash occurs. We are also in charge of driver license. We are the one, FRSC is mandated to also issue driver license. We have two classes of driver license, one that expires after 3 years and one that expires after 5 years. We have the process of getting this license, going to driving school. If it is a fresh, you have to go to driving school to learn how to drive for about 21 days, 30 days, before we get a certificate from that driving school. That will now qualify you to have to get a platform and also apply for that driver license, the class you want and the amount you want to pay, and then you come to our data centers for capture. Sometimes it takes up to 3 months, but we're trying to reduce it to make sure that we reduce the time gap to produce driver license. While we are now, we're trying to achieve a situation whereby in 7 days, we can be able to get the driver license. We have some challenges, but we're surmounting all those challenges, and by the grace of God, very soon we'll achieve that process of getting driver license within 7 days. We also produce the number plate in partnership with state. It is a tripartite arrangement whereby we produce for the state. We did that in terms of because we want to have uniformity, standardization, integrity, and security. All these two products, the driver license and the number plate, are being, conceived to have these features of standardization, security, uniformity, and unity. So we are the one producing driver license and number plate on behalf of the state, and therefore, when we produce the number plate to state, we issue it to state, and it's the state that normally send it to the interested public to do their license centers. We cannot do all this without training and retraining our staff. As of today, we have 3 formidable institutions that train our staff. We have the one for the lower cadre, the Marshal Training School. We have the one for the middle, which is called Inspectors Training School. And we have the one for the graduate upward, which we will call it the FRSC Academy. We stage this training periodically for our staff to make sure that they are abreast what they should do while on the road, what we should do while interacting with the general public, to make sure that we have that synergy and partnership with all the stakeholders. In terms of motivation, we try as much as possible that we promote our staff as we do. Salary is being paid by federal government as we do, and then we also take care of the medical bills whenever, and then we have hospitals that also, aside for FRC staff whenever the need arises for them to attend. We are members also of, Nigeria initiated the West African Road Safety Association. We were the first chairperson of that organization for 8 years. Then after, we handed over to Mali. This WASO secretariat is situated in FRC, in our headquarters, and we coordinate all the activities of West African lead agencies in road traffic and safety management, so that we have a coordinated approach, a cooperative approach, and then we move the region forward. We also offer technical assistance to some of the African countries, like the Sierra Leone Road Safety Agency, the Sierra Leone Road Safety Agency, the Liberia Road Safety Agency. We assisted them to train their staff and make sure that they bring off the enforcement status in the state by taking our staff to go there and train their staff and be able to also coordinate how they can also operate in terms of enforcement, in terms of legislation, and in terms of policies. We also have challenges, as usual, but the challenges shouldn't, stop us from carrying out our mandate. We are all aware positive enforcement is one of the major challenges. Secondly, enforcement. There's nowhere in the world where you enforce law and order without, whether you enforce law and order without enforcement. We have the handicap of using weapons, using guns to do enforcement. And there's nowhere in the world why you enforce statute laws without having a weapon. This is one of our also handicap. We do not use guns. And you cannot imagine, how do you imagine a road safety staff, a road safety personnel to stop on the road and stop a tanker or a trailer? It is very, very difficult. It is really truly a challenge. So we need the support of the general public. We need the support of all our stakeholders. We need to stop the support of all our partners to make sure that they support us to carry out our mandate and reduce the carnage of road traffic crashes on Nigeria road. We want to continue to be the leaders in road traffic management. We want to support everyone, and together we can do more, we can do better, and we can save more lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shehu Mohammed. Thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. Please let's put our hands together. All right, let's quickly move on to call on Abdul-Lateef Bello, highly represented here by Durojaye Babawale. Yeah, please, over to you.
Yes, my name is Durojaye Babawale Olalukan, and everything they read about Abdul-Lateef was not about me, it was about him. I'm just representing him there. I'm just an assistant director working with him. And what I'm going to look at is the role of vehicle inspection in preventing road traffic crashes. Majority of our speakers have spoken a lot about causes of road traffic crashes, and they've tried to link some of those causes to, 3 factors. One is the vehicle itself, the second one is the driver, and the third one, the environment. So I'm going to concentrate on the vehicle itself, and that's what I'm going to talk about vehicle inspection. I don't know if my slide can be ready faster than the other time. Yeah.
So just to be clear, is this the PowerPoint?
Yes, this is the PowerPoint.
All right.
Yeah. So
let me know when to move to the next slide.
No problem. Now let's go to the contents, and we can talk about we're going to look at very few things. I think I just have about 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. This is just to give an overview of what we're going to discuss, and I don't think we're going to spend much time on this because it's not so much. Can we roll? No, this is not a slide.
Yeah, this is not a slide.
Okay.
Prof.
The slide is the role of vehicle inspection in preventing road traffic crashes.
Please, just 1 minute.
Okay, you have it.
Okay, I think I've seen it. I'm sending it. And the next thing to do is actually to download it. Just 1 minute. It's just the files are very big, so you can keep on telling us the story.
Okay, let me keep on telling the stories. The first speaker said, he said the fatalities around the world due to road crashes is 1.19. World Health Organization said it's 1.3, and it happens 3 times in developing and low income and medium income countries. And I want to kind of link that to the economy. Most of these low and medium income countries are where we have most of these Tokumbo vehicles being imported to. And I now want to link it to the need, the reason why we need to, make vehicle inspection more important in everything that we do. Because new vehicles, yes, all of us, if we have used new vehicle, we know the way new vehicles roll compared to the way a fairly used vehicle, rolls. And most of these vehicles, new second-hand vehicles have already reached the end of life, And the end of life in most countries is 10 years. And that's when they just begin new life here. And some of them will still go, and some of them are still going to spend like 10 or more years, with us. And so, it's where many people also run away from vehicle inspection because experience has taught us a lot of lessons. You see, when people run away from vehicle inspection because they believe that, before now we were using manual inspection, which made it very difficult to even, achieve anything. In Nigeria today now, we've tried to introduce automated inspection system, use of mechanical means and computerized means, and some of them run away from the fact that the way the machine, shakes those vehicles to check the shocks, the lower arms and everything. They said, causes problem. And I always tell them that, look, if that machine will cause problem for that the shocks and everything, it means there's a pothole somewhere around the road that your vehicle will enter into, and that tire will give way, and that will lead to accident. So it's better we have shaken it, we have subjected it to all these conditions, we've stimulated those conditions to see whether it can hold whenever there is any form of agitation or something. Can we move now? Just keep moving. Now, you can stop here. Like I was saying, no, go back to introduction. I want to limit this thing to the vehicle, like I said, and most of the faults, we've said it before now, that most of these accidents are preventable. That's the ones that happens within, all of them are preventable, whether it's the environment, whether it's the person, and that's why we need to issue driver's license. And beyond driver license, the speed that the commercial spoke about, the person itself, drunk driving, and a whole lot of other things. But in case of the vehicle, we have a lot of faults, like faulty brake, worn-out tires, poor lighting system, engine failures, and so many other things. But I will limit to this. We can move on, please. My slide is animated. It's so talking about vehicle inspection, we all know what vehicle inspection is about. It's just those measures that are put in place by government to ensure that we have roadworthy vehicles on our road. It could be done manually, it could be done automatically, or the use of mechanical equipment. You can move on. It's done just to ensure safety and sometimes emission. In Nigeria, we are still paying attention to safety more than emission. For now, we're just collecting data on emission. Emission is not part of our failure criteria. Key component assets during vehicle inspection, I've spoken about the brake system, speedometer check. We all know why we need to ensure that brake works. Then speedometer check is one thing that I say that most of these vehicles are already at their end of life. Sometimes your tire might be running 100 km per hour, and your speedometer is showing you 80 km per hour. It happens. So we pay attention to this. There's speedometer check, and we need to compare the speed. What we do is that there's a machine that rolls the tire at a particular speed, and we compare it with what the speedometer is telling us to know whether your speedometer is telling you what the tire is running. Because vehicle is about vehicle communication with you a lot. And one thing we need to learn is to know that to communicate with our vehicle as we move in. Most of the vehicles today will tell you what your temperature is, what your speed is, if there's any mechanical fault. In fact, they have made it easier for us. We just need to use this, all these things that are in the vehicle so that we can guide against accident. Tires and wheels, headlights, indicators and reflectors, steering and suspension, windscreen mirrors and wipers, emissions and environmental compliance. These are the things that we do during vehicle inspection. We can move on. What's the mandate of road traffic services? Let me tell you one quick thing. Some people call us VIO. Yes, we are VIO. And but the nomenclature varies from state to state. In FCT, it's Directorate of Road Traffic Service because it's what they do in FCT entails everything about motor vehicle administration. In other states, it's being broken down. In Lagos, it's BIS, Vehicle Inspection Service. And so many other states, they just have their different way of, naming their agencies. So for vehicle inspection, the main mandate is to enforce vehicle roadworthiness standards. And the next thing is to conduct mandatory vehicle inspections. After you have conducted the inspection and the vehicle passes, you issue roadworthiness certificate. It doesn't pass. You tell it to go, fix whatever has been detected to be faulty and come back again. You do the test again and issue roadworthiness certificate. And all this, they don't need to make another payment. It's just one payment. So I don't know what we're going to do if somebody keep failing. So maintaining a vehicle database linked to registration. Database is one of our key issues. We are trying to see what we can do to make sure that we have a database, because like I was trying to link the report from low and medium income countries to economy and importation of second-hand vehicles. If we don't have data that speaks to this, we will not be able to really say that is that it's a factor. Then collaborating with other law enforcement agencies for compliance. It's very, very clear that, like we said, road safety is everybody's job. So we try all the time to collaborate with, Federal Road Safety Commission is a lead agency in safety issues. So we collaborate with them most of the time to get this work done. Also, we collaborate with police and other agencies. Classes of vehicle inspection. Yes, pre-registration inspection. Like for new vehicles, we don't need vehicle inspection for the next 2 years. But because today now, new vehicles are giving way to, used vehicles. So pre-registration inspection is very, very important. Before you do your registration, it's important that we carry out pre-registration inspection. But one thing we have also, because this thing is, countries work together. One thing we have come to also realize is that many of the vehicles that are coming, they come in as accident vehicles. They are accident vehicles. If it is fairly used and it passes through normal procedure, we've discovered that they carry out vehicle inspection on them before, and they ensure that they are roadworthy before they sell them for those people that recycle vehicles and sell them as second-hand cars. But the problem we have today is that many of these vehicles are accident vehicles, and we need to pay attention to them. Some of them are even, salvage vehicles. The chassis already having problem, but they still find their ways here. We manage them, touch them up, and we got them. They say it's neat, it's clean, but it's beyond the the facial outlook, the suspension, the steering system, the chassis. How are they? We really need to pay attention to that, and we can only get that through pre-registration. Periodical, this is the normal one we do. For private car, it's 1 year. For commercial vehicle, it's 6 months. And these ones are carried out before vehicle documentation and vehicle renewals. Next, post-accident vehicle inspection. This one is done for 2 things. To know what exactly led to that accident. When accident happens, if you have experience, you will have with accident. If you go to police will tell you to go and bring their report. It's used if there's litigation, to really value, what is the value of repair that is going to be done. And at the same time, for us, we want to know what led to that accident. There's one aspect of our job that deals with the mechanics, the spare part dealers, and everybody that has to do with that does vehicle-related trade. And what we do is when there is, when there's an accident, and you detect that the accident is caused by negligence of either a mechanic or maybe spare part dealers, maybe by sale of fake spare parts. If you're not regulating that space, you cannot sanction them. And when you're able to sanction them, we can't even give room for it to happen second or third time. Once we know that this person's negligence leads to an accident, it must be sanctioned. And if it happens the second time, the person can no longer operate in our state. That's what it means. So we are paying serious attention to that sector. routine vehicle inspection. This one is just the normal one that, you can just find yourself in stop and somebody just look around your car. This is one they can tell you, put on your wiper, put on your light, put on your, it just happen randomly. It's a random check. And all this is done to ensure that we have vehicles that are roadworthy on our road. Next, vehicle inspection. Like I said, we have manual, vehicle inspection. You can imagine, one person to go around and do all these checks. But today we now move on. Today we have automated system, and it's a combination of both manual and mechanical means of inspection. And the result is also, computerized. Now, what is the importance of regular vehicle checks to us as individuals? And probably to us as an organization? It saves life by identifying problems before the accidents happen. It reduces vehicle downtime and maintenance costs. When you keep checking your vehicle regularly, you spend less money because you will have solved the problem before it becomes bigger than you can handle. And like I said, emission is not yet part of our failure criteria, but we're collecting data on it. And very soon we're going to activate that. We need to protect our environment. Also, it builds public confidence in road and transport system, because when people know that the bus they are going to enter or the vehicle they are going to enter, it has passed through a vehicle inspection system, and they can really trust that vehicle. It builds confidence in our public transport system. This also strengthens institutional and public commitment to safety, because like what we're doing today now, we are enlightening ourselves and educating ourselves on the need for us to inspect our vehicles. I want to run a quick analysis of the major checks that we carried out. Most of the fault, this is just percentage of the failed vehicles and the major faults that they have. The majority of the fault is on lights. A lot of people pay less attention to whether their trafficator is working or not, whether the brake light is working or not. Even headlamps, some of our headlamps are not working fine. The brake is not like it's not working at all, but when you carry out the brake test, brake test is like you're rolling the car and you ask the person to match the brake. When the machine is able to roll the car, it means the braking system is not fine. But ordinary eye will not be able to detect that. It's only machine that can detect that. It's followed by a brake system. Then tires. You can now see what people pay attention to most: suspension. Because if your suspension is not good, you are not comfortable in the car. That's why we have least faults with suspensions. And then next is the steering system. Where all of us can relate in the area of steering system and your suspension. Let's move on. So what do we need to do so that we can embed safety into our vehicle usage? Carry out daily pre-trip checks. Whenever you are coming out in the morning, just move around your vehicle to check whether any of the tire is down. From experience, I don't know how it happened. Just discover that you park your car, the second day you come, one tire is down. And if you're not the type that moves around to check whether a tire is down or not, you will have, driven the car before you know that the tire is down, and that will have damaged the car beyond the repair. A lot of other checks, your water, your oil, and so many other things. Then stick to your manufacturer's maintenance schedule. Every vehicle comes with a schedule of maintenance. Please, let's keep to it. It's very, very important, because they call manuals manufacturer's mind, because they are the ones that produce it, and they know for how long you should drive a vehicle before you change oil, before you change tire, before you, so we need to stick to manufacturer's advice. Never overlook warning signs. Like I said, many of our vehicles today give us signs, they communicate with us, but most of us, we neglect them. And before we know it, it leads to road crashes. Ensure annual inspection certification from approved DRTS office. That's what we've been talking about. You need to ensure that you You inspect your vehicles annually, and for commercial every 6 months. Maintain a compliance culture within your organizations or household. Let's make it, our culture to make sure that we do the right thing. And in conclusion, vehicle inspection is not just a regulatory requirement, it is a life-saving mechanism. While we are committed to ensuring that all vehicles operating on the roads are safe, they are reliable and compliant, we can only succeed with every one of us, collaborating with us. And
of course it did. Thank you very much. Please let's put our hands again for. All right, now let's call our next speaker, Simon Patrick Obi. Simon, are you ready?
Yes, I'm almost ready. Daniel, just give me a moment. I'm trying to share my slide. Just give me a second.
Can I share from here?
Yes, of course you can share from here. Let me.
What's the
just
title?
The title of my slide is
it the PDF?
No, I don't think we have it, Samuel.
Oh, okay.
Simon, but you can share it with me so that we can actually screen it from here.
Okay, I'm doing that right away.
I would like to encourage people to start putting their questions together. If possible, type into the chat so that it will be quick. So directors, please, could you help us with that?
Do you have my slide now? I just shared it with you.
Not yet.
Okay. I check your WhatsApp, while I also attempt to join them.
Please, we have to work again in case you're thirsty. Just feel free to have a drink.
Could you confirm if you have my slide?
Yes, please.
If not, I can also share. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. I have it here also. So if this one is not working, then we can do.
Okay, I think if you can see my screen, I think I will proceed to present with my screen, with what I have on the screen. Please confirm again if you can see my screen.
I can see.
All right. I will start just now. So thank you so very much, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. My name is Simon Patrick Obi. I am a road safety advocate and also a development enthusiast. And what I want to achieve by this presentation is to make this conversation as engaging as possible. And I hope I achieved that. I also want to thank Abdul, who is my mentor, for the wonderful presentation, and of course, Shehu, for that brilliant presentation. I mean, they've shared a whole lot of stuff, and then around road safety, giving us data around road safety situation. I'm not going to be boring you with data, but I'm going to be speaking about the practical things that we witness on our everyday journey, whether it's to school or to work or to market or to anywhere. So my presentation is titled Youth and Community Engagement in Road Safety, Changing Behavior and Saving Life. And why does this matter, essentially? I mean, we heard from Abdul giving us the thought-provoking statistics that says that more than 1.19 million people are killed on the world road every day, and that road traffic crashes are the leading killer of young people who are from the ages of 5 to 29. And one thing I just want us to pause a little bit and reflect is that these are not just statistics, right? Beyond the statistics, they are human lives that are being wasted every year. And then he went further to say that over 36,000 dead are recorded on the Nigerian road, and to think that this is also the leading killer of young people, for me, I see it as not just data or numbers. I see it as behind these numbers and data, there are heartbroken moments for families, traumatic experiences for people, and a lot of shattered dream, and the worst part of this is that road traffic crashes are preventable and avoidable. And if it is the only thing that I want to achieve in this presentation, I'll be fulfilled, knowing that I've achieved this. Whatever that happens on the road are preventable and avoidable. I hear people say this is an act of God, or sometimes the witches and wizards in the case of our reality in Nigeria that are responsible for the killing of this human being. No, these are preventable if the right thing is done, just Abdul has shown us with the data in terms of mitigating speed and doing the right thing. We can achieve safety on the road. And then youth and community action is the key to changing this reality, especially because this affects more young people more than any demographic. According to that statistics, as I'm talking to you, over 3,500 people are going to be killed on the world road. And on that statistics, we have around more than 1,000 young people being killed every day on our road, on the world road. I need you to take a moment and reflect that these are huge numbers. And behind these numbers are human beings, our cousins, brothers, children, a heartbreaking moment, like I earlier said. And then So what then should we do? What then should we do? So we need to recognize that because this affects young people, we could youth or young people rather can be an agent of change in this regard. And one way we can recognize that is that young people bring energy, young people are innovative, and young people, as we see it, are all over the social media. So because the bulk of our population, more than 60% of our population are young people, the future tomorrow is for the young people, and there is need to begin to engage these young people who have this enormous energy, who have this creative mindset, and who have the ability to make things happen. And they can do that, through peer-to-peer influence. We know what peer-to-peer influence is done in our society. If the right investment is done in the minds of these young people, we will begin to see results. So youth are also bold advocates for accountability and safer streets. We've seen instances of several campaigns in Nigeria, the NSAS movement, the Not Too Young to Run bill. So if it shows that if young people are empowered in road safety, young people have that capacity to transform our society. And then talking about the power of influence, we see that youth respond better to messages from their peers. And that is why globally, campaigns around road safety are tilted towards, peer campaigns. And I'll give you a typical example. The part of the movement that I belong to, and as Greenlight belong to, is the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety. And I also serve on the supervisory board of YOS, which is the organization that manages the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety. And what we give out grant, annually to young people, and most of the things, the key thing we look at for is projects that involve peer-to-peer learning, because we realize, and over the year, data has also shown that projects in that regard, have the tendency to make impact and influence change in our society. The next thing is role models for safe behavior is always effective. In our situation in our country, we see instances where the government officers, who are entrusted with the responsibility of leading us and making change in society, don't obey traffic regulation, unfortunately. If we see instances where leaders begin to lead by example, I am optimistic, and I believe that changes will continue to happen in our society in terms of road safety. And we'll begin to see young people do the right thing. But it has to start from the head, down there. And then education advocacy. The call Marshal talked about Catch Them Young. It is one interesting program that the Federal Road Safety has done over the years, making sure that road safety is infused into the school curriculum of school children, secondary school and in primary school. We need to see that, more. We need to see that enforced, maybe, we need to see that prioritize in order to begin to see results in terms of improving our road safety. Digital advocacy, social media to share messages and of course mobilize support. There's something we used to do with the Federal Road Safety when X was Twitter. We do Twitter chat with the Federal Road Safety Corps, and we use social media to sort of enlighten the general public on road safety rules and regulation. And that needs to be done because bulk of the young populations are on social media. They are there, and we need to leverage that as a tool to begin to reach these young people. So youth, and I'm going to share some of the very few youth-led success that we've recorded. In this conversation, I've mentioned that I'm on the supervisory board of the Global Youth Movement, the YOS. So in 2020, when the decade of action for road safety that all of this conversation has quoted was going to be the document was going to be launched, we realized as a global youth movement that young people were not included in that document. And so we started an advocacy. We led several advocacies, several online sections, engaging policymaker, WHO decision maker. And at the end of that advocacy, it was successful. Young people were added in the decade of action plan as key stakeholder to achieving the 50% reduction in road safety globally. And so that's one example of youth-led success. And we can begin to invest in youth. And with this, we can see that with young people, success is definitely, possible. And then another example is Green Light Initiative. Of course, I founded Green Light Initiative a couple of years back. And one of the projects that the support that we got from the US Embassy was to empower young people to become traffic safety advocates. And through that support and a couple of support, we are able to train over 212 road safety advocates, across we did that training in Kaduna and Abuja state. We also did some other training funded by other entity in Enugu state. And we see the impact of those training. We see that young people in Nigeria, we now have more young people taking action for road safety, and these are case studies of success story if we do the right investment in young people. And then increase awareness, improve behavior. Of course, we need to organize events like this, but also targeting young people. We need to target more young people, and we can also leverage technology to make that happen, especially social media. And in terms of community engagement strategy, the Marshal talks about road safety club in school and neighborhood. So the Federal Road Safety Club has the National Youth Service Corps, NYC Road Safety Club, and that club is nationwide. And what I like to say here is that we've seen instances where road safety is not an interesting subject, right? And that's why youth who are in that club see it as a moment to tick the box, and, to make sure they fulfill all the NYC requirement and get their allowances. We need to make that club more interesting. We need to make road safety interesting. We need to let these young people know the problems that are associated with traffic crashes and tap from the ingenuity of young people, because young people are creative. They have the solution if we invest rightly. And then the Safe School Zone initiative, most of the crashes that have been reported, the statistics that has been presented so far, happened on the way to school for children. Most of our young people are killed on their way to school. And so there is need to implement Safe School Zone initiative. Green Light Initiative is currently implementing a project in 3 states, on safe school zone called the VIA Road Safety campaign, funded, supported by Total Energy. And the essence of this initiative is to, stimulate thoughts, stimulate creativity from young people and empower them to create solution, but also great awareness, for Safe School Zone road safety initiative. And other aspect of community engagement that are, our youth volunteer as safety ambassadors. Green Light Initiative have ambassadors of volunteers over the country, but I also want to highlight the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety, having membership which are volunteer basis spread across almost 100 countries of the world. And it is volunteer. All we do is to empower these young people with the skills the resources, and young people are excited to take action in their community, when that is done. And we've seen that happen. So behavioral change campaign, I mean, we've seen campaign in areas of music, storytelling, yielding results. One of the campaigns at the Global Youth Coalition we implement globally is the Claiming Our Space campaign. It's titled Claiming Our Space campaign. And the Claiming Our Space campaign, encourages the use of arts, encourages the use of storytelling, drama, for young people to use that, to promote road safety. And we've seen tremendous results. We've seen how that has inspire a lot of young people to take action for road safety, especially music. We have a music on road safety, and young people are vibing with that music. And then peer education, leading awareness drive. As we've seen how the seed grant that we provide for young people globally, we've seen how that is leading a change in terms of peer-to-peer education. And then we've also seen instances where young people are mapping risk area and sharing findings with the decision makers globally. So what are the system barriers for youth? So despite all of these things that I've highlighted, youth also face significant barrier. And one of it is limited youth participation in policy making. We've seen issues where policy makers are not so comfortable working with the youth. And that's because they feel that young people do not have the right skills and the right resources. They feel that young people are inexperienced. Some also feel threatened that young people could take up their position. And the message is clear, where the young people are not there to take up your position. Young people are there to work side by side with you, to support you. And so you don't have to be afraid of young people. All you need to do, invest, give the young people the resources, work with them. They are willing to work with you, right? Provide them the necessary resources and tap from their ingenuity, tap from their creative mindset. And we'll begin to see a result happen. Lack of funding for youth-led initiative, we see that pans out a lot. So stakeholders should begin to, these are some of the barriers that young people face, and we hope that stakeholders begin to do something in that regard. And data gap, when we look at the global status report, we often don't see youth contribution as such. There is need to profile that youth contribution as a way to also inspire other young people to begin to take action for road safety. Yeah, and what works in terms of evidence-based road safety initiative, we've seen local ownership and trust. So when young people are inspired to take ownership of their road safety, we've seen that tremendously have impact, not just for themselves, but we see that, it will see them influencing other young people to join. Like I started road safety in Nigeria as a young person, but today, I'm glad to see that more young people in road safety, more young people in Nigeria are involved in road safety, and we're having youth leaders in Nigeria that are leading road safety initiative. And I'm glad to see that. So youth leadership and training. So we need to provide training for young people. And that's part of what we do at the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety, and of course, YOS. So we have the YOS Academic where young people can take courses on road safety for free, in a bid to empower themselves and strengthen their capacity. Cross-sector collaboration. In the past, what has enabled Greenlight, me in the past to achieve some significant success was, having to collaborate with the Federal Road Safety Corps. So we want to see a situation where stakeholders also work with young people to achieve result in road safety. And so what are the roles of our stakeholders? They are enormous role, and one of such is in terms of policy, funding, and inclusion. So stakeholders need to include young people, because road accidents or road crashes, as the case may be, affect more young people. than any other demography. And so it is important that we include these young people in decision making. And then private sector investment, campaign, and partnership. There's need to invest in, in campaigns that are targeting young people for road safety, and also much better to partner with young people. I see us having better results when we engage young people, when we work side by side with young people, when we promote intervention that seeks to work with young people to achieve road safety goals. And of course, Abdul mentioned working with NGO, CSO. It's also a strategy for stakeholders to achieving road safety. And then my call to action, first will begin from young people who are listening to me. There is need for you as a young person to learn, because you cannot give what you don't have. And so you need to learn what road safety is about. You need to empower yourself with the resources, the knowledge, for you to begin to act. So once you acquire those resources, there are several platforms to get those resources. Like I mentioned, the YOS Academy has a lot of modules free of charge for road safety that you can learn from. And then you can begin to lead. You can begin to lead in your community. No matter how small it is, you lead and then you act. So that is my call for you today, for young people. And for stakeholders, please, I call on you to work with young people, trust young people. They are smart, they are creative, they have the zeal, they have the energy. Fund them, invest in them, and trust your youth to achieve road safety goals. And then for policymaker, make youth co-creator of road safety solution. For nothing for us without us. I mean, you cannot solve the challenges of youth without involving young people. So I would call on you to please make young people co-creator of road safety solution. That way they own the message and begin to do explore. So in closing, road safety is everyone's responsibility, not just the Federal Road Safety Corps or the VIU, but it's our collective responsibility. Youth are not the problem, they are the solution. We need to see that, right? We need to see that in all that we do. And then together we can save lives and create safer community for all of us in our society. So thank you so much. And I look forward to responding to any question that may come up. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Please, I really appreciate Samuel again. All right, let us move on quickly. Our time is actually half spent. Let's call on, Oyewole Toledo, over to you now for your presentation quickly.
Okay, hello everyone. Rescue tab. Okay.
Prof, the rescue tab.
I think, Simon, you need to stop your sharing, your slide.
Okay.
Do you want me to run your slide from here?
Yes, please.
Please hold on.
Okay, I think it's time for the fun part. We're giving out gifts, giveaways, and of course, some fun items. How many people here have experienced the one chance minutes? How many people here know somebody that has experienced the one chance minutes? How many people here knows anybody in Nigeria that has been kidnapped? These are staggering statistics that exist on our continent. When I returned back to Nigeria to design the rescue tab solution, it wasn't because I couldn't stay anywhere in the world. It was because we had lost 3 people in emergencies that were avoidable. The solution we created took us 1.5 years to birth, creating tech teams, creating data teams, product managers, UI UX designers, and so many other innovative youths and elders to create. The person that sat near me asked me a question. She said, everything that I'm hearing here, are they real? Well, for one, Rescue Tap is real. It's on the App Store. So please remember by the end of this presentation to try and download. We don't have phones here, so I'll just get right into it. Can you see, sir? Okay. So Rescue Tap is one tap for safety, right? Next slide. So these are some of the data that has already been presented by some of our esteemed guests here. But we understand as commuters, some of the challenges that we face is that every time after work, you are going home late, you are cautious about the car that you're about to enter. You're asking yourself, sometimes you're even stereotyping the person, right? You're looking at the person, everybody in this car, are they all looking straight? Why is everybody talking about some money that they made from CBN? You know, those are like some of the stereotypes we see when we are entering a car. So for Rescue Tap, some of the challenges we are trying to solve is insecurity for commuters on the road, then the lack of vehicle safety verification. Now, I'm so glad that our head of BIO is here and gave such an amazing presentation. I think one thing that we are really passionate about is seeing how we can get more of the public to be able to verify some of these transporters before they get in to the car so that they are not taken for what I term as one chance, but really in real sense is just short-term kidnap. So if I ask you how many people have been kidnapped here again, you can raise up your hand and say, yes, one chance I have been kidnapped at some point. I haven't been as a Mandela Washington fellow, but I know a lot of people that have been kidnapped. Some didn't get and come back alive. Then one other thing is delayed emergency response. So we know that every time that there's an accident, imagine you being in an accident right now and making a phone call to any number and you go like, hello, the first question to ask you is, where are you, right? And you're bleeding, you know? Hi, I'm about to pass away. How soon can you get here? So when we were designing Rescue Tap, we thought about the people that go to work daily. We thought about the people that travel out of the country, people that commute on the road. And that's why we built the Rescue Tap solution. Next slide. Okay, so let me quickly tell you a brief story. And this, sadly, is a true life story. We have a Yali member here. A Yali fellow Miss Greatness closed late from work and boarded a commercial vehicle to get home. This is a true life story. Unknown to her, the vehicle was operated by one-chance criminals, transporters, who pose as legitimate drivers, but are in fact short-term kidnappers and robbers. She was robbed of all her belongings and violently thrown out of the moving vehicle. Tragically, she sustained severe injuries and later passed away. Her story is a painful reminder of the greatness of, there you go, people on the call know her. But the summary of this story is that Greatness passed away. Before I went for my MBA in international business in London, I met Greatness one time, and she was full of life, full of promise, and full of hope. She said to me, Oye, you'll offer me business mentorship. Where have you been all your life? So just imagine 3 months after I go for my MBA, and somebody's calling me and saying, Greatness is gone. And that was the Yali president, then Moyo. Next slide. So Rescue Tap is a smart safety app designed to improve user security, track your location, and provide alerts in crisis moments by keeping you connected to those who care most about you. Who are those? Oh, guys, you're hungry. Don't worry, there's some cook behind. Keeping you connected to those who care about you. Who are they?
Your loved ones.
So that's what Rescue Tap is built for. Next slide. So some of the key features about Rescue Tap is, the idea is, in an emergency, let's give you the most time you want. You have maybe 3 seconds to respond. You have 3 seconds to decide if this guy is going to kidnap me or not. In situational awareness, when they teach you in terms of security and everything, when you are in a situation and you're about to be kidnapped, you already know that it's going to happen. So you're not yet saying, let me quickly pray to God and pray and bless. Yes, it's good. We trust God for safety. If you had that one button to press that will send your live location to 3 of your contacts, 3 of the people that love you the most, and send a text message and an email to 3 of your loved ones, would you prefer to send that text message or to start to maybe pray, then start to jip? Your hands are shaking, your head is sweating, your eye, I mean, some of you, your blood pressure has gone off the roof. So Rescue Tap, we created that one button solution that with one tap, all that happens at once. And this is not yet again something we are going to build. This is something we have built. Next slide. So with Rescue Tap also, and we have a sample QR code. With Rescue Tap, cars that register through our online database and website, I think there was one of the presentations that said they had challenges with database, right? It's something we build and hand over to organizations. So cars that are registered on our database appears like this. So if you are registering on our database and you're trying to be safe, it appears like that. So before you get to the car, you can say innocent. Do you understand? If innocent doesn't respond, you should start to ask yourself questions. Do you understand? And if it goes like, oh, I'm not innocent too, right? I am somebody else, but I know innocent, then you can start to have some peace. So it's a lot of behavioral science that went into the design of Rescue Tap, right? Then of course, when you confirm that this is innocent, for the general public safety, you can click that button, confirm and board. When you click confirm and board, it goes into our database and it registers that car that you boarded after work. So if anything happened to you and you press the emergency button, the detail of that car that you boarded after work is with us. And you can easily track that car anywhere in Nigeria, even if that car goes to another state. Next slide. So another thing is you can have you can send 3, I already mentioned it, you can send an instant message to 3 of your loved ones. Usually I register people that are really close to me and people that do not, leave their phones, So I register people that I know that once I just press it, do you understand? And also maybe you're looking for people that do not have high blood pressure. It cannot be your father. No, but your father might need Rescue Tap because yet again, one of the reasons why we also design Rescue Tap is not just for people moving, right? Every now and then your father is in the village, right? And you're not close to your father and your father has high blood pressure and wants to inform you. He also needs Rescue Tap with just one button. He can get to you and you are not calling and asking your father. That's the other way around. Reverse. So you can now, the person that, so you can now have, so instead of you calling and saying, Daddy, where are you? Rather just call your neighbor and say, call the neighbor there and tell him, Daddy has pressed this button, there's an emergency. Because I can only imagine what it would be to try and describe locations from where I'm from in Kogi State with only one road or something. If you're from Kogi State, I am from Kogi State, so we have one very major road. But with that one tap on the map, it shows the live location of where your dad is. And this is what we have built and not what we are building. Next slide. Then of course, we believe in the work that our amazing road safety have been doing. Some years ago, I think that's about 4 years ago, we did the work for safety in collaboration with road safety, and we also donated some road safety stands. That was at Attaché Zone 7, right? It was something that we already thought about, but we weren't thinking about one chance then because it hadn't hit close to home. But now, through the statistics in this room, I believe more than ever, it's an app that everyone should have. Next slide. So some of the few things we are trying to do is ensure commuter safety. You are going in, you are coming out. This is an app you should have. Then rapid emergency response. Then preventing the one chance menace, which in my own view is just short-term kidnap. That's what I call it. Then saving lives during emergencies. Next slide. So some of the use cases which are important is you're working late and you need to pre-verify before boarding in public transport, please use Rescue Tap. You're traveling from state to state in Nigeria, please use Rescue Tap, right? I would advise you when you wake up in the morning, just tap the button and go out. Do you understand? So if at some point they grab you in the car, we know where you are on the map. And after every 10 seconds, the build is that it auto updates. So even if you have an accident on the road, after 10 seconds, you add auto updates in case you are no more at that location, you are at the hospital. So you are not regretting not tapping the button. When you are going out on dates, hangouts, meetings, events, and need an emergency button, please use Rescue Tab. You are studying in a public or private university in Nigeria. Most times you are not in your immediate environment studying. Some of you even go abroad, right? Use Rescue Tab. A pregnant woman with a husband or help not so close, use Rescue Tab, right? Your water can break and you just need somebody immediately. Please use Rescue Tab. You're an expatriate, you're a migrant to other countries, please use Rescue Tab. Old parents in the village or city, old parents, no, I'm kidding. You just mentioned your parent. Then use Rescue Tab. Going for elections, rallies, you're going out, you're using transportation to go out, use Rescue Tab. You're posted for NYSC core program to a state, and you know or you don't know where you are going to, please use Rescue Tab. In the NYSC guideline book, there are some places that when you're passing, it's highlighted as these are risky areas. Why would I want to pass that type of place with zero tool on how to survive and come out? It's like John Wick, knowing the end of the script. Next slide. Our impact so far. So we had over 500 pre-launch users who tested intensively and provided us feedback. And currently, after 2 weeks of two weeks of launch, we have over 100 users that have downloaded, and that's for the Apple Store. Please, if you are using the Play Store, which Innocent is frowning at me at, because he asked me about this a week ago, it's coming out in a week's time. So please hold on. We are also having an End One Chance campaign starting next month with the Yali Abuja and Yali National. This campaign is in honor of both greatness, because we'll not let our memory die, but also all those people on the road that ply the road, sensitizing them on safety measures, how to ply the road safely, and that's in collaboration with Yali Nigeria. Hopefully all of us here will join us, and definitely will send invitations as our honorable guests. Next slide. So, the partnerships are for you. Your names are here, and I'm hopeful that we can have further collaborations to discuss about this. But these are some of the partnerships that we are already executing, and people that we are speaking to, from nonprofit actors to corporates to universities to so many organizations. That partnership is super important to keep all of us safe in this country called Nigeria, but even beyond when you go out of Nigeria. Next slide. Okay, join the movement. One tap saves lives. You can download. Next slide. And some of our future rails, I'll leave this, but this is just some of the things that we are thinking about in the future to make Nigeria safe and Nigerian roads safe. We're thinking about, integrating with large corporations that have tons of, especially a lot of people that work in oil companies that move by the road. Do you understand? Or you work with government, or you work anywhere that is moving, and you have to go by the road, right? We're incorporating and having collaborations where they can use that. And for some people that travel outside or come into the country, many times when you come into the country and you're traveling by road, you can't really tell. The person might be extra kind. It's the same way when some of us, we travel to other states. Do you understand? The first time I traveled to Lagos, I didn't know that the person that was following me was a suspicious fellow. I just thought it was just one of those people that are just extra interested in what is happening to me. And until later on, somebody did that, Nigeria, if you don't understand it, you are gone, right? Then, of course, we're also thinking about deploying in collaboration with NYSC, so that many of these people can just have a tool, no matter where they are posted, or no matter where they are going, they have that tool. Then, of course, civic engagement safety that we already are starting next month. Next slide. These are some of our partners and some of our team members. If you look left or right, you might see one or two of them in this room, but we have an elaborate team of experts, people. I myself have founded about 6 companies currently. So this is not a one-time thing. This is something that I've dedicated my life, my passion, my ambition to make sure that Nigeria is a safer place. And that's why we're extending our hands to even some of the partners sitting here when it comes to providing you that tool, that database that you can see. For instance, in about 2 months' time, we're going to have rescuetab.m.io that provides you alerts when you're passing different areas. Don't stop here. It's a possible kidnap area. Don't stop here. This is where that girl was, quote unquote, abused or molested. So it's just providing you alerts. This is where, like just alerts, and you can get it real time. And that is my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Oye, thank you. Let's put on again for him. Thank you so much, American Spaces Nigeria. For those of you who are online, I think all of our directors across our network already have access to the link to download the mobile application. I think we shared it some time ago. So please just check our group. It is there, please, so you can also download and also share with your communities. Without further ado, I will call on Samuel to quickly see if there are questions on the Zoom for us or on our Facebook page, so that we can quickly take questions before we leave.
All right. Just 1 minute. Okay, let's start with Joss. This is not directed at any of us. He said, given that most of the cars on Nigerian roads were bought as nearly new, in brackets, second hand, how can law enforcement agencies, road safety, VIO, really check to ensure that those that are not roadworthy are taken off the road permanently? This from Valentine, from Joss. Okay, so that's number 1 question. I can't find any other question here. Okay, and then another one is from Abel-Kuta. I say, I love this innovation, and that's the HAP. So let's take another one from Uyo, and then followed by Benin City. We encourage you to quickly type this in. So I'm going to be giving you 1 minute. I want to plead with our resource person to please note these questions so that you can respond to them together. Uyo, please unmute yourself and quickly ask your question. Don't tell us stories, please. All right, go ahead.
Good day, sir. Please, the rescue tab, is it an online or offline app? If it is online app, how about a case of poor network?
How about the what?
A case of poor network, an online app.
Poor network.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We got that. Let's go to Benin City. No, just 1 question, please.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, go ahead quickly.
Okay, so I just scanned the QR code, and it's showing me that the app is only available on the Apple Store for iPhone and iPad. And we know by statistics that most Nigerian users, Android users, they are more than iPhone users. So what happens to...
I think he answered that question. You didn't hear that. He said by next week, we're going to have the Android. That's the Play Store. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other person from Benin City? All right. I'm not seeing any other hand. Is there any other hand anywhere? Please, can you help me check? All right. Okay, there's no other question here. Okay, Joss, quickly, please. This is the last set of questions we're taking. Please raise your hand. We want to acknowledge all of you who have stayed up till this time. Thank you very much. Yes, please, just go ahead.
Okay, my question is concerning the rescue tab. He said 3 contacts will be contacted, and I don't know how will that system verify the valid contacts that you relay such message to.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I can't see, is Yola trying to ask a question because I can see some movement? Any question, any question? All right, so my own question is this. I'm a regular road user. I travel on the express, and most times I see people who are overspeeding. In fact, the speed, in fact, there was a time I had to block one driver. He was just about to, a very narrow place between me and the trailer. He wanted to enter the place by force. So I had to block him, and I make sure I kept that pace for some time. And of course, when I now allowed him to go, of course, he started abusing me. So the question is, you know, we have crazy people, and it's like every other time I travel on this highway, I see people like that. The question I want to pose to all our speakers is, you know, how do we report such? Or is there a way we can, like this app, point it to the vehicle, and the vehicle can take the picture and the speed, and then it will send it automatically to you. And then your next person can, you know, relay, and they catch up with this person. Because some of these people are killers. In fact, one of them was a lady. A lady was speeding. I said, oh, you are... Anyway, that's my question. I think I can see Uyo, and that's the final question. Uyo?
Okay, sir. Sir, please, while we were speaking on rescue tab, I was considering a scenario whereby the person you are trying to connect with, maybe the person is offline. Is there any way that rescue tab can give us like a backup for the users?
All right, thank you very much. So, Daniel, please, you can arrange how, probably the way we presented, the way we also respond to the questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. So who is going to answer the first question before we come to the Apple Day class?
Okay, there's the issue of the vehicles that are moving the road. You see, enforcement is one of the most difficult challenges of road safety anywhere in the world. In Nigeria, because of the economic condition, when you try to enforce road traffic rules and regulations, and you try to probably stop and impound the vehicle, the first thing the person will tell you, oh, we want to stop me from having a daily bread for family. Not considering the fact that he's a threat to other road users. And sometimes even when you do that, other road will come and beg you, say, please, temper mercy. Those are the kind of situations we experience in this country whenever we're enforcing laws. And then we also consider the family. Of course, you know what is happening in this country. If you decide to impound the vehicle and stop the person from getting his daily bread, the person might have families. And it's also. So sometimes we put all those things in context to look at what we can do and what we cannot do. That's how it is. But the truth of the matter is that those rickety vehicles are dangerous to other road users. That's just the truth. But we hope that when the economy improves, those it's a simple symptom of poverty, like you see rickety vehicles. When this economy improves, we may not see those ones on the road again. So we hope that our economy will continue to grow, and then we'll stop seeing those vehicles on the road.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, can I quickly add to that? You know, presently, like the question is how do we remove them permanently? And like the commercial said, it has been a very serious issue removing them permanently from the road. But something that, you know, we're not sleeping over it, but there's something we have, you know, brought to fore now. You know, I was talking about rescue tab. something we're launching in FCT within this week. We call it Move Smart, it's something like this. And what we're attaching to it is that every vehicle, before we can pre-register them, on our platform, we have what we call public transport management system scheme in place. Before we can register them, there's a process we call vehicle certification. And that is one thing we're going to use because we want to make sure that every vehicle that is engaging in commercial business, that is used for hire and reward in FCT, is need to pass through that process. We started a kind of a pilot scheme. What we saw was, was very, very heartbreaking because we checked like 35 vehicles in one location. We could only see 3 that passed. And in one other location, we checked 17 non-passed. And that tells us the story of what we have in our, commercial vehicle business. Because what they do is, the law in Nigeria allows you to carry vehicle documents of any state. So in FCT, they run away from our vehicle renewals because we make them to pass through the vehicle inspection. They will go to Nassau and other states to go and do their documents, so they don't do. So we now come up with this policy to say, whether you're having documents from other states or not, but if you want to do business in FCT, you must pass through that process of vehicle certification. And my people, it's very difficult for us to even have vehicles to do business, and that is where we are right now.
Even the boat you see around Abuja now.
Even the e-hailing service, so it's not
Thank you very much for that responses. So we'll take the last one from Mr. Jurigo.
Oh, okay. The question was about poor network. One thing that we are very aware is that we have scarce resources, right? We are not a telecommunication company, right? But something we have been thinking about in our future build is the use of USSD, but it also defeats some of the advantages of rescue tab. One tab save lives. Do you understand? At that time in an emergency, we are not thinking about typing response 1, US star, but something that we are thinking about for users like that. Another question is about the app on the phone, iPhone. I think we already mentioned that it's coming out in a week for the other stores. Then the 3 contacts are pre-registered, right? There's a family package actually that is coming out also, so you can just register your family members. So that way, I think father, mother is the product there. That's what I'm looking at him. The back there. Father, mother, and 3 kids. You'll be able to register them at once. Then for the report of cars via the app, that is a far stretch. But I think we can sit down with VIO or road safety to have that conversation. If it's something that they think it's important to have, then we can look at the technological side of what it will take to build, because that's what we really just do in the companies that I run. Then I think that's about it.
So finally, let me just make a little comment on the World Health Organization estimate on the fatality in Nigeria annually, 30,000. You also look at it, you have to agree with me that do you think we'll have 30,000 deaths annually? That is an average of 2,500 monthly. We have a better record where we have the names, the location, the type of crash, the status of the person, all on record. And we have less than 10,000 annually. And as of today, we have station officers in all the 770 local government in this country that give us report on crashes. And we also collaborate with enforcement agencies like the civil defense, the police, the VIO, all over to get this data. So even if there are margin of error, it will not be more than 10% margin of error. So 30,000 as an estimate without proper evidence is always something that we need to look at as Nigerians. 30,000 deaths.
Wow. I'm sure a lot of us have so many questions, but unfortunately the embassy closes at 4:30. In fact, our colleagues in Lagos close at 4 o'clock, but because of this program, they have to stay this extra minutes.
There's a question. How much does the app cost, or is it free? People are asking questions. They're sending messages to me.
Yeah, I can go ahead. So it's a social enterprise. It's not free, right? It's cost us almost $20,000 to build, but we gave it to Nigerians at 500 naira per month. That's less than your Chicken Republic. You understand? But abroad is £10, 10 to 15 pounds per year. So put it in perspective what we're doing in Nigeria as that model, because it needs to be sustainable and needs to continue running. So that's what we did.
So 500 times 12, that's 6.
Anyway,
very much.
the conversation will not finish here. The video is going to be on our Facebook pages, YouTube. Please go there, interact, ask your questions, and yeah. So he will look at the questions on our Facebook page, and he will also respond, because security, we have to make sure we get everybody out in good enough time, unfortunately. But thank you, everyone. It's been a very interactive time. Let's put our hands together for our panelists. Talk to us. We look forward to also having this kind of interactive forum. We had left about 40 minutes for question and answers, unfortunately, because of the technical glitches that we had, and sometimes the topics are very interesting. We can't say stop, and all that, but let's continue on our social media platforms, and thank you very much. And in case you think we should come back to discuss a step further, especially because you're putting a lot of things in place, please, you're always welcome to be in touch, and we'll arrange for another session like this again. So thank you, audience. Thank you, everyone from our American spaces across Nigeria. Simon, Dr.
Distinguished.
So much. Thank you very much for joining us despite the time differences. We really do appreciate the time. I see a lot of road safety officers in JOS. Thank you very much. And you can also respond to some of the questions from your audiences, and have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So thank you.